welcome back to another episode. Bath Salts here. We're going to be doing a tier list, and this is going to be just for melee weapons in Project Zomboid. I'm not going to include any guns in here. I didn't include every single weapon that can be used in the game too. I took a majority of the ones that people would commonly use in game. Also figured I'd make the actual ratings a little bit more fun instead of just S, A, B, C, D. So for our tiers, we've got God tier, A for amazing, solid, I wish I had more luck, I'm desperate, and then lastly, naked and afraid. So we're going to go through these together. This is by no means the 10 Commandments or anything like that. This is just my own personal opinion. Weapons I've used, how much I like them. Let me know in the comments if you feel like I overrated a weapon, if you feel like I've underrated a weapon. Some of these weapons here that I did decide to list, I have not used before. You know, I'm going off of the wiki here and just comparing them to weapons that I have used. But a lot of this is just going to be, again, my own personal preference. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you think I should have switched something up. Maybe give me a recommendation for one of these weapons I haven't used. That way I can try it out in my next playthrough. And before hitting the record on this, I was trying to think, where do I start with this? And I feel like we just have to start off right off the bat here, putting the Katana in God tier. I mean, I think this will be the common consensus amongst most Project Zomboid players that the Katana is the best weapon. I mean, statistically, just if it wasn't so rare, yeah, that would be nice too, but it is kind of rare to find. I know for me, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in my playthroughs, and I have found one Katana. The Katana that I found had no durability. So I got to swing it a couple of times before breaking it. That would be like the one downside of the Katana, is that, yeah, it can't be repaired, and it is very rare to find. I wanted to pull up the stats here for you guys in the wiki, and you can see all this stuff in the wiki. It's a great source if you ever want to just find out more about the weapons. Where's the full list here? It's underneath here, yeah. Sorry about that. So Katana does the most damage in the entire game with a max damage of 8. Now I don't know how these numbers work here. I don't have any type of mod that shows me how much damage I'm doing with my weapon swings, but to put that in perspective, you've got the machete and sledgehammer below that at 3. We'll call them damage units, where this is at 8. Amazing weapon. If you find one, have a blast with it. You're going to have a really good time, and I think that's a good starting point. Just Katana is as one of the best weapons in the game. Moving on from there, we've got the axe. This is like the fireman's axe. Some people love axes and play primarily axe. I tend to not really use axes in my playthrough. I know it's a common start when people go like Rosewood Fire Station. They might base there. You're going to start off the game with a lot of axes right off the bat. I have used it before. I think it's solid. I wouldn't put it as amazing. I could see the case for someone saying it's amazing, especially if you do some type of like axe build on your character. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but again, my own personal preference here, I'd list it as solid. I could do a playthrough primarily using the fire axe and be perfectly fine with that. Next up is the dumbbell. I've only ever found one dumbbell before. It was from a storage unit. This thing weighs 6 pounds. Now, the barbell rather, it's technically called a barbell. It weighs 6 pounds. It weighs as much as a sledgehammer weighs. It actually does do decent damage, and it actually has pretty solid durability, but you're going to stam yourself out so fast with this thing. I would only use this if I was absolutely desperate. Kind of right there with the sledge for me. I'd have to be pretty desperate. The only time I've ever used this barbell before in game was when I was doing exercising, and even that is very rare, because I just don't believe in leveling up exercising. I would tell you to just stock your guy up with as much strength and fitness as you can while building him. And then, yeah, don't even worry about exercising. Try to max those two out before you even start your game, because exercising is pretty brutal to level up in this game. So yeah, even though the stats, they don't look bad on the barbell here, this is only going to be a desperation situation that I would use this as an actual weapon. For me, baseball bat, and this is going to include the spiked variant. I'm just a big fan of blunt weapons in general, and I have used the baseball bat so much. It's got pretty solid durability. You can add on the spikes for even more damage. You can even repair the bat just with nails, and as you continually progress through the game, you're going to have plenty of nails. If you're looting warehouses, you'll have plenty of boxes of nails. It's not the most efficient way to repair the bat, but I've had bats that I've repaired tens of times just with nails if I don't have any wood glue or duct tape. For me, I would put it in the amazing tier. It's never failed me. It's never let me down. I don't think the stamina drain on it is too bad. Easily repairable. That's why I have it a bit higher than the fireman's axe. Next up we have a broom. I'm putting broom in Naked and Afraid. I have never once used a broom, never thought of using a broom. This would be, I just started my run, I spawn into the house, I've got 15 zombies outside, and the only thing in the house that I can even use as a weapon would be a broom. I'll pick up the broom then. I wouldn't recommend using it. If you've used the broom before and it's worked for you, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear broom stories. So let me know. Maybe I'm missing out on something there, but that's going in the Naked and Afraid tier for me there. And yeah, next up we've got like the meat cleaver, I think it's called. I'm going to put that in I wish I had more luck. I don't think it's good enough to be labeled as solid. I have used some of the, cutlery, so to speak, before as weapons. It's usually because I'm pretty hard up. I haven't found what I needed at that point, and I just can't put a meat cleaver at the same tier as a fireman's axe. I feel like there's a pretty significant jump between a fireman's axe and a meat cleaver. But I would definitely use a meat cleaver over a barbell. So I think it's going to fit into that I wish I had more luck category. Next up we've got, and this is I believe it's a butter knife or a bread knife, I can't tell from the animation, but butter knife, bread knife, basically the lower end cutlery. I'm just going to label it all under this logo here. It's definitely Naked and Afraid tier. I really wouldn't recommend using them. They've got pretty low durability. The other issue you have with these kind of short blade, these knives, the thing that I don't like, especially if you're fighting like larger hordes, the last thing I want to happen is I get the animation where the knife gets, implanted into the zombie's skull and then it's stuck there, and then I literally have no weapon. I'm down to shoving and curb stomping at that point, and that's just not an ideal position you would want to be in. So for me, Naked and Afraid, again, spawned in, no other options. I have to have some type of weapon. Yeah, I'll pick up a bread knife or a butter knife. So it's right there with the broom for me. Next up we've got the crowbar. I am a big time crowbar guy. It's not gonna rock your world with damage numbers, but the crowbar it's so durable. It's like Mr. Reliable, I call the crowbar. I could easily use a crowbar for the entire playthrough and completely enjoy myself and have a good time. It's almost like you never have to repair this thing. It does good enough damage. You don't feel like you're lacking anything while using it. It's even got like the added utility stuff that is nice. So like, let's say you don't always carry a hammer around. If you come across a survivor house, you can unbarricade the windows with it. Again, for me, this is Mr. Reliable. I could even understand some people saying it's God tier. I think that's overrating it a bit much, and I'm a big fan of it. There's no way for me a crowbar is going to be up there with a katana. Now again, you're going to come across a katana much easier than you would a crowbar much more easier than you would a katana. So it does have the added benefit that these are pretty common in the world. But early on, mid-game, late game, I can understand someone using a crowbar at any points of the game, which is why I'm putting it with the baseball bat in the A tier. I love the crowbar, highly recommend it. Frying pan is an interesting one. So frying pan, I'm a big believer in the frying pan, and you can throw in like griddle pans as well into this. I just chose the frying pan to represent that tier of weapon. I'm gonna put it. If there was an in-between tier, I would probably put it there. I would personally choose a frying pan over a meat cleaver. This would be the low end of the solid tier for me. If I come across a frying pan early on in the game, in my playthrough, I'm happy. I'm like, alright, good, I'm ready to go, I can start fighting. I don't feel like I have any setbacks with the frying pan. For me, it's solid for early game. Now, if you're using frying pans and you're in the winter time and that's still your best weapon, you've got some serious issues at that point. But for what it is, I would put the frying pan in the solid tier. It's going to be less than the fireman's axe. I'm easily going to take the fireman's axe over the frying pan. I just have a lot of respect for the frying pan. It's helped me out early game in so many playthroughs. I want to show it some respect there. So we're going to put frying pan in the solid tier. Next up is a garden hoe. Personally, I've never used the garden hoe before. Looking at the stats, it wasn't too great. This, you can make a good case. I would say either I am desperate or naked and afraid. I'm going to give it the I am desperate, and I'm going to put it above the barbell. If I'm in a room and I just spawned in, and my options are garden hoe, a broom, or a butter knife, the butter knife I'm not even thinking about. It would be between the garden hoe and the broom, and I'll probably take the garden hoe at that point. Yeah, let me know if you guys have used the garden hoe. Let me know if I'm missing out on something there. But I'm going to say I'm pretty desperate if I'm using a garden hoe to get through my day. Next up is the golf club. Now, I've seen and I've heard interesting things about the golf club. I have never found a golf club, I don't think. Maybe once, and when I found it, I don't remember the stats being anything too crazy. I don't even think I wound up looting it. But I've also heard people tell me that the golf club is amazing. I'm going to just put it mid-tier here. I'll put it above the meat cleaver. You guys let me know. Let me know if the golf club is where it's at. Let me know if I should be looking for more of these, if I should be using these. I just don't have enough experience with using it. But I feel like I'd probably entertain a golf club over a meat cleaver if those are my choices. So we'll put it at I wish I had more luck, but at the higher end of that tier. Next up, we've got guitar. Guitar is also another interesting one. This is going to include, keytars, electric guitars, acoustic guitars. This guitar is going to represent all of those types of guitars. I've heard good things about guitars doing a lot of damage. I've heard that they're pretty good early on as a weapon. They do take a lot of stamina, though. That's my issue with it. I would say it's a good case here that I'm desperate or I wish I had more luck. I probably am going to put the guitar behind the meat cleaver, and I wish I had more luck. I'm not a big fan of weapons that drain stamina very quickly. It's one of the more common ways I used to die in Project Zomboid when I first started. Was I'd run out of stamina, I'd gas myself out, I would get myself in a hairy spot where I couldn't break line of sight, and the next thing you know, I'm getting swarmed. So, yeah. Let me know again, too, with guitar, I've only used it a couple of times. If there's something I'm missing out, if it gets extremely broken or something when you're level 10 blunt weapons, let me know. But for now, I'd probably take a meat cleaver over a guitar. Hammer, I'm going to put hammer as solid. I typically, in every run that I play, I'm always carrying a hammer on one of my tool belt slots. I mainly have it there if I want to quickly disassemble a door. a crate. It's nice to have just to level up carpentry, and in a pinch, and preferably because I play a lot of short blunt specs when I make my characters, the hammer just, I get the extra XP for using it, and usually I'll whip out the hammer if let's say my main weapon breaks and I'm in the middle of a fight. I'm going to switch to the hammer, but I'm not going to be worried about it. I'm going to feel more than confident that the hammer is going to be able to get me through, this wave that I'm fighting without any issues. It's got solid durability, and between a hammer and a frying pan, as much as I love the frying pan, I'm going to definitely take the hammer, but I don't think it's better than the fire axe, but solid weapon in a pinch. Kind of similar here with the hatchet too. I'd probably use the hatchet. Me personally, I think these are very equal. I'm short blunt. If you're short blade, I can understand you putting the hatchet above the hammer. Just because I like short blunt, I'm going to keep the hammer in one slot ahead of it, but I'm definitely taking hatchet or hand axe here over a frying pan. Again, just another solid weapon in a pinch. You could get by with a hand axe for a while too and be perfectly fine. Good weapon. Definitely solid weapon. Hand scythe is an interesting one. When I was looking at the wiki here, it had very interesting stats. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go to short blade. So we're gonna go up. Alright. Where you at? Hand scythe. It's actually the top ranked short bladed weapon as far as damage is concerned. Now, the issue I'm seeing is the base durability is 25, so it's basically right on par with a kitchen knife. So that's going to give you a little bit of an issue. The damage numbers on these, if you look at them in game, it's actually quite high, but you're going to probably break this thing rather quickly. I usually will pick up a hand scythe if I find one as like an emergency weapon, but I'm probably going to put that in the I wish I had more luck tier, and you can make a case for it to be above a guitar. I guess we'll put it in front of the meat cleaver. The meat cleaver, 150 durability though, so we're going to put it behind there. As a long-term weapon, you'll actually get more out of this meat cleaver than you would with the hand scythe. So yeah, definitely I wish I had more luck if I'm rocking a hand scythe in my playthrough. Next up is the hunting knife. If you've been watching my playthrough, my Survivor series that I have going on here, the large portion of my early game, I used a hunting knife. It was really the best weapon I could find at the time. Now, typically, I have only really used hunting knives at on the end of spears before, and that is one of my favorite weapons, is the hunting knife spear weapon. I had never, single-handedly wielded a hunting knife prior to this playthrough, and I do have to say it actually performed quite well. I definitely earned a new respect for the hunting knife. I'm going to put it solid above frying pan. You can make a case that it's better than the hammer or hand axe, which I would not argue with, but I'm going to take a fire axe over the hunting knife. But I would still say I have a newfound respect for the hunting knife. Definitely going to put it up as solid. Next up, we have a kitchen knife. Kind of similar to the hunting knife. Usually I've only ever used these at the end of spears. Just out of curiosity, yeah, 20 durability. You're not going to get very far with the kitchen knife. I'm going to probably put that behind the guitar, and I wish I had more luck. In a pinch, you can maybe get yourself out of a jam. You're not going to get any type of long-term use out of the kitchen knife, though. Lead pipe. Again, you've heard me say it, I'm a big fan of short blunt. Usually spec my characters as short blunt. Lead pipe is actually pretty solid. I'm going to put the lead pipe above the hammer. It's a good weapon. It's similar to the nightstick. To give you an idea, let's go to blunt. Alright, damage. Lead pipe is actually the highest damage at 0.7 to 1.2 with a 300 durability. So it's got the same durability as a nightstick, and its damage numbers are just a tad bit higher. So if you like the nightstick, that's something you like to use, try out the lead pipe. Lead pipe is definitely good. I don't want to get hated on too much. I would probably take a lead pipe over the fireman's axe, but I completely understand if you think a fireman's axe is better than the lead pipe, although I think this is a good spot for it right now. Second best in the solid tier. I'm happy with that placement. A rake. I think there's only two discussions to have here on a rake. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a rake, right? Yeah, I thought it was the garden fork for a second. Rake, in my opinion, there's two tiers we can put this in. Obviously, God tier. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna be looking at I am desperate and naked and afraid. That's really all this can go to. Man, it's just how bad is it though? I would have to say we'll put this naked and afraid right there with the broom. Yeah, it's a beyond desperation for me if I'm picking up a rake to use it as a weapon. Please let me know if I'm completely missing out on the rake. I'd love to know through my experiences with it though. Yeah, I'm naked and afraid. I just spawned in. I spawned into a farm and all there is a rake. Then maybe I'm using it. Machete. Alright. Machete is an interesting one. I would fully understand if someone wants to put the machete at God tier. I can totally get behind that. Being a blunt guy, I even recognize how good the machete is. The nice thing about the machete too, let me put this. It's gonna go in the amazing tier in the first slot for me. The other thing I want to show you too, which makes the machete nice, as you can see for long blade, you have two weapons in there. Again, this is vanilla. Mods could change this. This tier list is strictly vanilla. The only two weapons you got in long blade are Katana, which is the God tier, and then you've got the machete. Machete, you can think about it as like a mini katana. Does about half the damage of a katana. So this is between 2 and 3 units. This is just 8 across the board. It has 325 durability. It's super durable. And if you have the goal of going out finding a katana and wanting to use katanas, the only way you're going to be able to level up your long blade is with the machete. So I've used the machete plenty of times. It is a significant drop off when you've used the machete, let's say, and then you drop down to, like, let's say a hunting knife. The power spike there is significantly noticeable. I would not hate on someone if they threw katana in machete in God tier. I just think machete and vanilla is definitely one of the best weapons. I'm going to leave it there right now as the top spot in the amazing tier. Again, I could see this being in God tier, but for me, there's only one God tier weapon, spoiler alert, and that's going to be the katana. Machete, though, is amazing. I would take a machete over crowbar or baseball bat. Metal pipe. Metal pipe is going to go solid tier here. I would probably put it above the hammer. I put it above the hand axe, but below the lead pipe. That's a good spot for it. Again, very similar to lead pipe. If we go back over here, we take a look at blunt. Let's get there. Blunt, short blunt. We want short blunt. There we go. Metal bar. It's right there, just a little bit lower on the damage scale. Half the durability. That's the big difference here. So you're going to get half the amount of swings that you would from using a lead pipe with the metal bar. But solid damage numbers. 120 durability is not the worst. Just, you can't sneeze at that. It is pretty solid. So yeah, I would put it above hammer and hand axe, but I could see someone moving this down. I would still say it's above. I would say it's above the frying pan, as much as I love me some frying pan. That's a pretty good spot for it. I would definitely put it as a solid weapon. And similarly to that, nightstick. These two are really interchangeable. In my Survivor series that I'm playing now, my quote-unquote secondary weapon, my one-handed weapon I'm using is the nightstick. Again, big fan of short blunt. You could make a case that nightstick's above lead pipe. I mean, I have both lead pipes and nightsticks in my run right now that I'm recording, and I'm using a nightstick over the lead pipe. But they're almost identical. So right up there in the high end of the solid tier is where I would put nightstick. This next one's only going to take us 2 seconds. A pencil, a pen, you're naked and afraid, and you're probably the worst version of naked and afraid. I would love to see, it would be actually a kind of interesting content to see someone try to play like a hardcore playthrough with a pen or a pencil, just to see how far they can get. I mean, you're almost better off just shoving and curb stomping than actually swinging this thing. So yeah, naked and afraid, last slot. Pickaxe. This one, I have found many pickaxes in my time. I have not used them because they just look like they drain a lot of energy. Let's get over to where that would be here. I believe we're gonna go long blunt, or is it? Where are you at? Where are you at? It might be. Is it considered bladed? Maybe it's bladed. I think we must have passed it. I personally have never picked one up and used one before. Again, I kind of mentioned earlier how I'm not a fan of weapons that drain my stamina. Pickaxe, there we go. It's technically an axe. I thought it was a blade. It's kind of a hybrid weapon. But let's just take a look. Let's do damage. So pickaxe is below a wood axe, but above a fireman's axe. The damage is pretty solid, 1 to 2.2. 260 durability. 9 times crit multiplier, not bad. 25% crit chance. I don't know enough about it. 0.8 base speed, that's going to indicate it's got a pretty long swing animation. This is what I'm going to have to rely on you guys in the comments for. I just haven't used it enough. Just barring going off of just the stats that we just looked at here, I would say it's solid. I guess I'd put it above the hunting knife, but below the hand axe. I could see this weapon being really good. If someone has used a lot of pickaxe before, please let me know. I'd actually love to try it out in my playthrough. I just don't know how viable it is with that slow swing speed and the fatigue drain. So let me know, guys, about pickaxes if that's something I should be looking into. Pipe wrench. I think I've only ever swung a pipe wrench in battle under absolute necessity. Usually the only time I'm using a pipe wrench is to do my plumbing in my base. Although I've seen Reddit posts, I've seen people on videos using pipe wrenches and they swear by it. So I'm going to trust that. Let me know if I'm wrong about this, but I probably would put the pipe wrench somewhere in this range here, solid, above the hunting knife, below a hand axe and a pickaxe, kind of right there with like the hammer, the one-handed tools. Don't have enough information on that, so I'm going to put it as low end solid for now. Just a straight up plank, and we can even add in the nailed plank variety. I would have to say you're desperate to be using a plank. That's pretty bad if that's all you can find. Now again, I have personally never swung a plank. I've never been that desperate in game before. I'll usually have some type of weapon that is better than a plank. So if you are a spiked plank build main and you're telling me it's amazing, I'll rely on you for that. Let me know though. For me though, just real quick here, I am desperate, but I would actually pick up a plank and use that before these garden hose or dumbbells though. That's for sure. Scissors, easy, naked and afraid. I would probably say pencil's probably going to wind up being the worst weapon on this list. Let your scissors rip clothing and leave it at that. Don't try to use scissors. Yeah, and we're just going to leave that one there. Screwdriver. Screwdriver, again, this is another low tier weapon here. I would probably put the screwdriver below. We'll put the screwdriver above. It's just a matter of how bad is it. Wow. But when I look at this, if I was in a room and I had a choice between a screwdriver and a dumbbell, now that the list is starting to form here, I might actually use the screwdriver over the dumbbell. So I would definitely use a screwdriver over a rake. I think these are actually going to swap here. We're going to demote the barbell, and we're going to move the screwdriver up to I am desperate. I might even use a screwdriver over a garden hoe. I think that's where we're going to put that. Yeah, that's where we'll put that. Let me know if someone out there is doing screwdriver only runs. Let me know how that's going for you. Shovel. Shovel actually has decent stats. I don't know if I could put it in solid tier. I'd probably put it at high end. I wish I had more luck. I mean, I'm always happy when I find shovels. I use them primarily for farming. But if I was, if I had a farm that I was working and I got jumped by some type of horde and all I had in my hands was the shovel, I'd turn to swing on them. And I wouldn't be scared. I know the shovel could hold its own. I just don't know how viable it would be for long, prolonged fights where you're going to need a lot of stamina to get through them. So we'll put that at the higher end of I wish I had more luck. Spear. Now, this is just a regular crafted spear. I'm going to put it at solid, and I am going to put it right behind the fire axe. Now again, we've got a couple of different spear options here. This is just the straight up wood crafted spear, no attachment. I am a huge fan of spears. In my recorded playthrough now, we are using a variant of a spear as our main weapon. I feel, again, other than like a katana, I couldn't get the word out. Katana, I'm going to go into a fight fearless, but spear's right there with me too. I am completely fearless. If I've got a spear in my hand and I know it's durable, or if I have a backup spear in my inventory, because that's the only thing that's you can make a negative about a spear, is the durability. That's the big elephant in the room when it comes to spears. The range is amazing. The damage is amazing. If you like instant one-shot animations, you get that. I don't use the spear attack. I think it's cool though that you've got the running spear attack. That's neat. I love spears, so I might be a little biased here, but we're going to put just a regular handcrafted spear, no attachment. Solid tier. We'll put it below the fireman's axe, but definitely high-end solid. Sledgehammer. Definitely something that's super useful in game. You're going to use sledgehammers. It's something you're probably going to want to find pretty early on. There are other ways you can get through structures that are like, you can consider them like glitchy. But the tried and true and the way that the game, I think, wants you to destroy and get through structures is with a sledgehammer. Now, this is not a utility tier list. This is strictly weapon tier list. I'm only going to use a sledgehammer if I'm desperate, because you might swing that thing 5-10 times and then you're going to be gassed. I would definitely pick up a sledge before a plank. I feel like, I'm trying to put myself in a situation where I'm in a room, it's about to be swarmed, I've got a plank on the ground and I've got a sledgehammer on the ground. My brain would probably pick up the sledgehammer, but again, desperation situation is what we're talking about here. Now, this one here, this spear, let me see what image this is here, because they all kind of look similar here. Spear. I think that's the spear. I want to see the spear with hunting knife. That's the spear with the hunting knife. So this is spear with hunting knife. Spear with hunting knife for me, it's going to go first slot, A tier. It is amazing. If you've never used a spear with a hunting knife attached to it, especially as you get your maintenance leveled up, and you can start making better spear qualities with higher durability, it is one of my favorite weapons in the game. Again, it's right there with we touched on this before, it's spears. I feel fully confident going up against very large zombie hordes if I have a spear, especially a spear with a hunting knife. It shreds. If you don't believe me, try it. And again, the only negative you can say about this weapon is the durability, but that'll get better as you level your maintenance. Just give it a try. If you've never used the hunting knife with a spear, let me know. Go ahead and try it and then get back to me, because I think you'll agree that it's amazing. Next up is, this is just a regular knife. So this could be like a bread knife, kitchen knife, meat cleaver, just any cutlery that you can put at the end of a spear. I'm going to put that I'll put that right. We're gonna put that above the axe. I don't know if I can do that. The axe is solid, man. We're gonna put that one slot above just a standalone spear. We've touched a lot on spears here since they've been back to back. So yeah, I think we have hunting spear twice here, by the way. But yeah, it's solid. It's not as good as the hunting knife, but it is solid. I think that one down there actually, yeah, that's machete. We'll get through the spears here. They're all coming up now. So spear with machete. I don't personally do this. I've never put a machete at the end of a spear. I'll usually just use the machete because I feel like I get more life out of the machete just using it by itself. I could be wrong on that, but if the spear with the hunting knife is amazing, throw a machete on the end of a spear and let me know how that feels, because that's even better than the hunting knife. So I could understand if someone who's a main spear user even were to put that as god tier, low end god tier. I would get behind that. I would not doubt that. Very, very good. Try it out. Really, try it out. I mentioned earlier in my playthrough I'm using a spear variant as like my main weapon. That main weapon is the garden fork. And full disclaimer here on garden forks, prior to the recorded playthrough that I've been posting, I have never had used a garden fork before. I had no experience with it. Now that I have been using it, the thing absolutely wrecks. And the nice thing about the garden fork is that the durability is actually pretty solid on the garden fork. It's 150. If you look at that in comparison, the next closest durability you've got is the spear with machete at 120 durability. So this is going to give you 30 more base durability. So it's going to last a whole lot longer. And again, level up that maintenance, pick up a garden fork, and then let me know what you think about it. I can understand these being flip-flopped. It's a preference thing. I am high on the garden fork right now just from the playthrough that I have going on. Highly recommend you guys go out and try one. I think it's extremely OP. Next one up is a stake. This is pretty desperate. Pretty desperate. I'm probably going to put it above the butter knife. You could make a case that you can swap these. You're naked and afraid. If you're using a stake, or if maybe you're playing Project Zomboid Vampire mods, I don't know if that's a real thing. Maybe it's OP in that. You're pretty screwed if you're using a stake as your main weapon. This is a stone pickaxe or stone axe. Stone axe. I know there's builds out there where you can build like axes, level up your axe super high, level up your maintenance super high, and then do a whole bunch of perks around axes, and you can make these stone axes really good. I would say for the average player, or if you're newer to the game, I wouldn't be recommending the stone axe as a go-to weapon. This would be more of like a niche build, or for a more experienced player. I'm not going to totally like poo-poo it either. I would still use a stone axe over a sledgehammer or a plank. I would probably even use it over a hand scythe. I wish I had more luck is where I'll put it, but I understand if someone were to tell me that it should be in the amazing tier if you spec it properly. But we're trying to keep things like equal across the board here. Your average everyday player, I'd put it in I wish I had more luck. Same with the stone hammer. I'd probably put it right there. Basically very similar weapons. One's bladed, one's blunt. It's just whatever you prefer. Same thing here, stone knife. Out of the three of these, that's probably how I'd do it. I'd go axe, hammer, knife. That's kind of how I would rank those. If we put that there, though, we're going to have to move the kitchen knife up and the scythe up. That's how I think we'll have to rearrange that. But either way, I think we just move this back. So either way, stone tools, I'm going to put that in I wish I had more luck, unless you're doing a very niche build. Umbrella. Fun fact, the closed umbrella is technically a spear. I've never used an umbrella before. It's got 21 durability, so it's right there, like low durability crafted spear. You know, that's what we're looking at here. I've never used one before. It's 0.5 to 0.7 damage, so it's basically half the damage of your crafted spear. I'm going to put that I wish I had more luck, you could make a case that you're desperate or naked and afraid for this. I just love spears, so if I'm using spears and I have broken all of my spears and there's an umbrella in the room, I'll pick it up and use it to get out of a jam. But it's right there, I'd say, with a guitar for me. This is the wood axe. Wood axe, one of my favorite items in the entire game. I hate chopping wood. Wood axe rips through trees, so it is S tier, God tier when it comes to cutting trees. Weapons wise though, oh man, it's gonna be kind of like sledgehammer-ish for me here. It's not something I would really recommend using. I definitely am going to use a fireman's axe over this axe. You guys are going to have to let me know about this if any of you guys have actually used the wood axe. The wood axe for me is just too valuable with cutting trees. I wouldn't even want to waste the durability on, ripping through hordes with this thing. But I think you're going to run into major stamina issues here. I'm going to put it with the shovel. We'll put it... I'm going to put it below the shovel, and I wish I had more luck. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, guys. I wouldn't waste the wood axe on fighting things. Save it for cutting trees, which it's amazing at. And last but not least here, we've got the wood mallet. Wood mallet for me is probably going to be I am desperate. I probably would put it above a screwdriver, below a plank. Yeah, you're pretty desperate if you're using a wooden mallet, in my opinion. Means you didn't have the greatest start to your game, if that's all you got. But yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at here. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like the tier list. Let me know if you guys want to see more tier lists. More importantly, comment on this and let me know the experiences you guys have had with these weapons. Let me know if I'm completely missing out on one of these, if I've incorrectly labeled one of these in the wrong tier due to my own inexperience using that weapon. Let me know. I'm always looking for new and fun ways to play the game, add a little spice to my playthroughs. I like to kind of switch up which weapons I use throughout a playthrough too, so I'm open to using different weapons. But yeah, I'm looking forward to your guys' feedback. Also, thanks to everyone who has subscribed. Thanks to everyone who's watched my videos. We're a brand new channel, and if you guys have been getting in on the content, you're at the ground floor with this. So I appreciate you going through my trials and my struggles as I start learning this whole YouTube thing. The appreciation I have, I just can't put into words for you guys. You guys are awesome. I can't believe I even get 10 views on some of my videos. So the fact that you guys are stopping in, that's amazing. If you guys liked the video today, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, like it. If you've been enjoying my content or you really like the content and you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. I'm not a big fan of constantly asking people to do it. I just know that I watch a lot of creators and I'll forget to subscribe just because I just forget to do it. It's a simple click. If you like the videos, subscribe, you get more content. Pretty straightforward. But more importantly, especially for this video, guys, leave those comments. Let me know what you think is wrong here. Educate me a bit on some of the weapons I'm not familiar with. And until next time, keep an eye out for episode 17 of the Survivor series. We put a trailer on for that. And until next time, guys, take it easy.